and good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to Breaking Barriers, 5 Key Principles to Experiencing Inner Peace. Now, these aren't principles born by anybody else. They are principles I have lived and use, so that you won't find them in a book anywhere. You'll just find them coming from me. So the word according to Rosemary. So for those of you who haven't met me yet or haven't met me before, my name is Rosemary Wilson. Back in the day, a time before, I used to work in oil and gas. I started my career in finance and then I progressed. I like to know how things work. So I moved into tech, so fintech, finance and technology, and change management, where I used to implement large scale financial systems, mainly for oil and gas and banking. So I say I'm now in the second chapter of my career and I'm literally living my passion. My passion is to help other people to really fulfill their full potential. And that is through building confidence, developing emotional intelligence and leadership skills. So I work mainly with women on a one-to-one basis, career-focused women who want to thrive in what they do or take the next step in their career. I also work with organizations who are committed to investing in and nurturing their talents while supporting a culture of diversity and inclusion. So that's very important to me as well. And I get involved in all sorts of things as well. I get asked to speak internationally. Before, I used to travel, not doing that so much now. And I've just written my first book. It's called Imposter Syndrome and Your Performance. What's the link? It's at the publishers now and it will be out later in the year. So that's just a little bit about me. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, there's my QR code. Use your phone to connect with me. If you're listening to the recording, you can also connect with me or follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not a massive social media person. I probably should be, but I'm not. Maybe one day I will be. But anyway, you can follow me there and you can also get some of my wisdom as I share it. So today I'm going to be talking about, as I said, inner peace, which is kind of like, it's like a dream, isn't it? Inner peace. And I am into meditation, I'm into mindfulness, so that's quite important to me. But inner peace is more than that. Inner peace is more than those exercises or doing more than that. It's a lifestyle. And Jessica was asking me about, I talk about the travel bag of peace. And for me, when you have inner peace, you walk around with it and it literally is like a travel bag. It's portable. You take it with you wherever you go because you are the peace. It's an inside job. So if you are content within yourself and at peace within yourself, it will spill out into all areas of your life, even when people are pushing your buttons. So the content today is going to be on around, how can you work around or formulate inner peace into your life. We'll be talking about it's an inside job because it's your inner peace. It belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anyone else. And I'm going to be talking about some barriers. You can explore what your barriers are that stop you from feeling that inner peace. And I've got 5 key principles that I'd like to share, which are quite important when you're talking about inner peace. And then I'll share some practical action steps that you can use for yourself. Just 1 second. Just coughing off the sound. So first question out to you. What does inner peace mean to you? So if you could pop that in the chat box, and I'd actually be interested to hear at the end also what inner peace means to you. Is it something you've ever thought about? Is it something you dream of? What does inner peace mean to you? Is it something that you can't even imagine having inner peace because your life is so chaotic right now? It's just a long and far and distant dream. So what does inner peace mean to you? And if you had it, what would it look like? Would it be, I don't know, a nice home or comfortable surroundings? Would it be that your mind is at peace wherever you go? because inner peace means different things to each of us. So what would it look like? What does inner peace mean to you? When I say inner peace, what kind of images does that conjure up for you? Have a little think. Let me know. Yeah, a grounding, a state of calm. Oh, grace. I do love that word, grace. Ooh, that just sends shivers down my spine. Grace. I like that. State of mind. Oh, serenity. Oh, beautiful words. Yep, serenity and grace. I love that. And literally, I've got goosebumps. They're words that I dream of them. Well, I live them. They're wonderful. I just don't necessarily bring them into my vocab daily. So yeah, love those words. Being congruent with your values, your beliefs, your purpose, and God. Yeah, that's also wonderful. Your spiritual side, your spiritual being, whether you're religious or not. Yeah, just getting into that space. Being in balance, that's wonderful as well. Yeah, just it's all okay, not overacting on one side and underacting or overacting on the other side. Underacting is not really a word, but just balance, just well balanced. And yeah, like they say the swan is activated his legs or her legs underneath the waters and seemingly so graceful on the top. But even the swan would be, if you're at inner peace, you wouldn't be activating your legs like that. You would just be gliding around with serenity and grace and balance and being congruent with your values. I love that. Thank you very much for sharing. I like that. Super. Love those words. Oh, that's got me all excited. So, okay, wonderful. And it is an inside job. So everything that you said there, that literally is internal, isn't it? It comes from within. Nobody else can give you those pieces. Nobody else can give you that sense of self, that sense of peace, that sense of serenity, and that balance, the grace. Nobody else can give that to you. And I think quite often people make the mistake of thinking that someone else can make them happy or someone else can make them feel good, when it's got to come from you. And other external things can help, or they can accentuate it, but they don't give you that inner peace, they don't give you that happiness. So it's an inside job, and it's a place of psychological and spiritual calm. So when you are just in that space where nothing's worrying you, you're calm, you have clarity, you can make great decisions, or beneficial decisions, or the best decisions even, because we never know when we make a decision, we never really truly know the outcome. And also, if you make the wrong decision, quote unquote, being okay with that, that's that kind of nirvana place that we want to get to, just when everything's okay, everything's hunky-dory. And I get mistaken sometimes in that, because I don't react to things when things are going haywire or crazy, or there's a disaster or something's happened. I am quite calm. Like, I'm the person you want around when trouble's happening. Well, I'm quite calm, and that helps me to stay really clear-headed, logical, methodical. It doesn't mean that the thing doesn't affect me, but it just means I don't in that moment get all animated and unable to think straight. So that inside job is that psychological and spiritual calm. There's no racing mind, there's no worries. And a lot of people think that if I'm not worrying about something, I'm not living. But you can think about things, you can plan things. I'm not saying go numb, but that constant state of anxiety and worry, it's not really beneficial. So it really is, inner peace is an inside job. And finding a way to get there is up to you. We all will have different ways of arriving at that calm side, that calm space. So worries are what stops us from being calm and serene and graceful and balanced, because we worry about all sorts of things. We worry about things in the past, we worry about things in the future, what someone said, what they didn't say, worry about what we've got to do, what we didn't do, all sorts of things. We're always thinking, constantly thinking. But when you're in that state of calm and balance, worries, they may fleetingly come into your mind, but they disappear just as quickly as they arrive. Again, I'm not telling you to numb yourself. I'm just saying choose how you react. And, worries are what stands between you and your peaceful mind. Stepping out of the present moment is what stands between you and your peaceful mind. When you've removed yourself from the present moment, that's when you're less likely to experience inner peace. So, self-reflection time, these are one of the exercises that I'd love for you to take away. We can't do it now. I would have, that's why I wasn't going to record, because I was going to have a bit of a discussion around this. But think about the things that you worry about. What do you worry about? How certain are you that what you worry about will happen? And what would it mean for you? What would it mean to you if you chose another thought rather than the worrying thought? If you chose another thought that was much more helpful, empowering, or less aggravating, what would it mean to you for you to choose another thought in that moment? I describe thoughts, or I don't describe it myself, but I heard a talk once about choose another thought. And I imagine that we have a carousel of thoughts going round and round and round. And you jump on that, you've got the carousel where you get on I don't know, you've got a horse, or you've got a car at the circus, not the circus, the fun fair. So I imagine our thoughts are like a carousel. What would it mean to you if you selected another thought rather than the one that is bringing you down or taking you away from inner peace? And it doesn't mean that the thing that you're planning or worrying is gone away. It just means in that moment, if you chose another thought, you wouldn't be worrying about something that you can't control. So you can do this exercise at home. Take a screenshot or listen to the recording later. And the barriers to inner peace are often our habitual behavior. So worrying is one of those. Being flustered, getting anxious about things, doing too much at once, multitasking. All of these things do really circumvent that space of inner peace. And maybe because I work for myself, I feel more in control of what I do. But I think if I did go back into another person's workplace, I've got the tools now to behave differently when stuff's going off around me, when things are happening, which I'm quite thankful for. I don't imagine going back into the workplace working for someone else, but you never know. So our habitual behaviors and thought patterns are barriers to that inner peace. So this session today is really about just introducing you to doing that inner work to guide you to, maybe you won't be able to experience inner peace all the time, but it will take you closer to having it the majority of the time, or making better choices as to when you feel like you need to get excitable about something, if that makes sense. So let's go into these 5 principles that I call are helpful to guiding you to inner peace, or on your terms as well. So the first one is about choice, and I'll explain each of these in a second. First one's about choice, about deciding when you realize that you've moved away from your calm, how can you get back to that calm? What can you do in the moment that's in your control? Comparisons I've put in there because comparisons often move us away from inner peace. And again, I'll explain all these in a second. Habits are what we do habitually, daily, routinely. They can take us towards or away from inner peace. The action we take towards or away from inner peace. But present moment is like the place that you want to be in. Present moment, even when you're doing a task, if you concentrate on that task, literally put all your focus and your control in that present moment task, any worries or concerns won't be there, because the concerns are in the future. So if you stay in the present moment, that's like the place that you want to get to, where you can return to the present moment regardless of what's happening around you. That's like the epitome of inner peace, the present moment. if you've not listened to Eckhart Tolle, I'll put his name down if you've ever heard of him. The Power of Now. It's quite a heavy book, but I do recommend reading it. So let's talk about choice. This is the first of the 5 principles. So quite often we're rushing. We rush. Our mind rushes, we rush, everybody else is rushing, we're all rushing. Perhaps right now, given the terms of the world, we're slowing down anyway. We've been forced to slow down, but slowing down is not such a bad thing. So you want to be able to give yourself choice to return to that place of inner peace. So when you slow down and you stop moving so quickly, you've got time to think and make a choice. And you can ask yourself, how do I prefer to feel? How do you prefer to feel in that moment? Are you seeking inner peace? Are you seeking more calm? Or are you seeking the excitement of whatever it is that's going on? So you've got that choice. So I think first off, inner peace is a choice. It's entirely up to you to start getting into that habit of making that choice for yourself. Number 2, making comparisons. We constantly make comparisons. We compare situations. We can compare moments in time. When I did it last time, this happened, so I am expecting it to happen again this time. We compare people. We compare ourselves to other people. Constantly making comparisons. I could probably put a whole list of things that we compare. The thing is, each of these situations, times, moment in time, or people is unique. So comparing is going to be impossible, and it's impairing, meaning that it takes you away from that calm space and calm attitude. So when you compare yourself to other people or what other things or what else is going on, it immediately takes you to another zone, and then that takes you out of control of staying calm and in your world, internally. So sometimes comparing, or most of the time when you compare, it's actually not very helpful. So think about the spaces and places that you often compare. When I did this last time, it didn't work, so I'm not going to do it again. Or when I did this last time, I got this result, and that's not the result I wanted, or it was perfect. So if I do it again, it will still be perfect, and that's not how the world works. That's not how life works. So think about how you compare, and is it helpful? Does it help you? Does it bring you towards that inner peace that you're looking for? Habits, the things that you do daily and most often, these are quite often, if you're not in a space where you're calm and balanced, if you start looking at your habits, you'll often find that they are actually moving you away from being calm and balanced. Your default position, your habits that you do quite often aren't the ones that give you that sense of calm. What you do most often, what you do daily. So look at what you do most often, and monitor your day. When you wake up, what do you do? Are you rushing to get ready because you've woken up late? Are you rushing to get into work or rushing to sit at your desk because you got up late? Is there something that you could do to stop you rushing around? So just have a look at your day generally and start to notice the things that take you away from feeling calm and peaceful. And commit to changing just one thing. Maybe commit to waking up 10 minutes early. Maybe, I don't know, making your breakfast the night before. Perhaps, I don't know, what could you do? Have your laptop set up already, in the position you need it to be, so that you're not rushing for your first meeting. Have a look at the things that you do most often and daily. Your exercise regime. Are you rushing in the morning to go and do your exercise and then come back to sit at your desk if you're working from home, or you're doing your writing, or you're doing your book? I know Ali is doing her book. Look at the things that you are doing that take you away from feeling a sense of peace and calm. And if we want to, one of the 5 principles is, this is number 4, if we want to change anything of what we're doing, we have to take action. We have to change something, and change comes with doing. So if you want something different towards that inner peace, and you're really experiencing that you're not having it, what can you do differently? So what can you change and what can you practice? Just maybe one thing that you do differently daily. Give yourself permission to do that one thing daily and stick to it. And if you regress, if something happens and you don't do it for one day or you don't do it for a week, that's okay. Just go back again when you're ready, but make sure you take action that brings you towards inner peace. And I always think that inner peace is, it depends on how important it is to you. So inner peace is obviously important to me because of what I described earlier about my lifestyle when I was younger, the things that I went through. So for me, inner peace is important. So even when something happens and maybe I'm not as peaceful or as calm, I still return back to. So I meditate every morning. This week I had some problems with my shoulder and I didn't have my routine because I wasn't comfortable in lying. I normally meditate lying down. Just call me a heathen, that's what I do. And I meditate lying down on my yoga mat. And it wasn't comfortable for me to do that. But I sat in a chair and I did like 3 minutes of meditation yesterday. So I didn't do it this week. Normally I do it every morning, but that's okay. I know that because it means so much to me, I'm going to go back and do it. So it's really high up on my list of things of importance, meditation, because it just settles my mind as well. It helps me get clarity on things that I'm going to do. So I encourage you to find that space of what's important to you to take action towards feeling more of a sense of peace. And as I said earlier, the present moment is like, it's like, wow. If you can bring yourself back to the present moment, anytime there's stuff going on around you, that is just like the mantra of calm. Because in the present moment, there are no worries. There's nothing to worry about, nothing to fret about, because you're here, you're now. Again, I recommend the power of now, or, Eckhart Tolle's, it can be a little bit, not difficult, but a little bit dry. It's quite deep. So, if you can't get to it, that's fine. But, or find some other books on present moments. But, really practicing that present moment is really, it is so peaceful. And once you start doing it, you start getting into that habit of, oh, I'm going into my present moment. The only time that matters is now. Things start to change for you. Just there's less worrying about what someone else said, what they did, what they didn't do, what they were supposed to do. What how the pandemic's going to roll out, what else is going to happen, is the vaccine a vaccine or a drug, or should I get vaccines? Once you get back to the present moment, right here now, all those things just fall away and you don't have to worry about them. Also, you don't have to make any decisions because it's now, so you just glide through. But I really encourage you to work on that whole present moment space. So look inwards for yourself. What are your barriers to inner peace? When do you find that you are less peaceful? What happens? What's going on for you? Is it something out of your control? Is it something you can control? What are your barriers? Again, I would have had this as an open discussion, but what are some of your barriers to that calm space? Is it because you don't know how to? Is it because life gets in the way because you get too busy? Is it because you don't have a daily habit or a daily ritual of returning to that present moment or returning to inner peace? What's some of your barriers where you don't experience calm? So I'll be interested to hear some of those at the end, especially when we've got questions at the end. Now, remember that your energy goes where your focus flows. So if you're constantly worrying about something, or if you constantly have barriers about returning to that space of calm, remember your energy will go in the direction of your worry, for instance. So if you're worrying about something, that's what you're going to move towards. You're going to move towards more of that worry rather than looking for solutions or looking to manage the worry or managing what's in your control. So you want to start focusing on, where do I want my energy to go? I've got some upcoming, I'm not going to call them challenges, things that I don't know how to do yet. But rather than me concentrating on the fact that I don't know how to do them, I'm like, oh, well, if I keep thinking about I don't know how to do them, I'm still not going to know how to do them. So I've decided that I'm going to focus on learning what I need to do to be able to manage what it is that I need to do. So it's a project that I've got coming up. So there's some skills that I need to learn, perhaps, or maybe I have the skills, I just don't remember. But I need to figure out what is in my control and what can I do. So that's a decision I often have to make, because it can be so easy to say, oh, I don't know how to do that. I still don't know how to do that. And whilst you're thinking about, I don't know how to do that, there's no solution because you're not looking for a solution. So start thinking about where your energy is going and how you can bring that calm and that peace into your space, into your world. Now let's talk about practicalities. So start noticing and observing where you feel anxious, annoyed, irritated, away, well, whatever it is. Start to notice where you move away from your inner peace and make notes. So X happened and I felt uncomfortable. Y happened. I really didn't like that. And start thinking about what's in your control. What could you do differently? So start noticing and observing and making notes of some of the behaviors or thoughts that come to mind, just so you can start understanding yourself more. Once you start understanding yourself more, you can start putting a plan in to take action. If you find yourself drifting away from being peaceful and you become annoyed or animated, or you start experiencing feelings that move you away from feeling calm, more negative, unhelpful feelings, let's call them unhelpful feelings, do the 5 senses exercise, which I'll tell you about in a second, which is quite powerful because it brings you back to now. Again, only time we've got is now. And if you are into meditating, or if you want to meditate, set a time to meditate. So first thing in the morning, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just even 30 seconds. And the other thing is, some people get caught up in what meditation looks like. Again, I'm not particularly a purist, so my meditation is probably very different from other people. I know you're not supposed to, I think, lie down or something. You're supposed to sit cross-legged, and meditation is what meditation is to you. So I'll talk about that again in a second, just to give you some ideas. So I'll explain what the 5 senses exercise is in a minute and what you can do about meditation. I think obviously notice and observe what moves you away from your inner peace, and make some notes on what tends to annoy you or move you away from that calm sense of self. And it really is a mind switch. Inner peace is a mind switch. And as I said to you earlier, what's important to me, start exploring what's important to you when it comes to your inner peace. So review the importance of inner peace. Maybe it's not that important to you. If it is important, what can you start doing differently? How can you practice returning to that space of calm and peace and serenity and grace and values and balance? What can you do? Can you make a commitment to doing one thing a day? Spending 5 or 10 minutes a day being in that peaceful space. Because what we practice grows. If we practice being associated or connected to inner peace, it will grow. Make it a routine and turn that into one of your habits. Turn it into one of your habits of returning to that wonderful calm space. And that's where this whole mind switch is. So, review the importance of inner peace to you. Is it important enough? If it's not, maybe it will fall to the bottom of your priority list, and practice it. Make a commitment to practicing it. Make a commitment to returning to that space of inner peace as often as possible. Make it a routine and make it one of your helpful habits. Meditation. So, I'm a bit of a rebel. Meditation is what it needs to look like to you. And if you get hung up on meditating perfectly, you're going to spend so much time worrying about meditating perfectly, you won't meditate. So meditate looks like whatever you need it to look like. So for me, meditation means It is a place where I get calm and I allow my wandering mind to be heard. So any of those worries or anxiety or anxious things, I just know that I just say, I hear you. I'm noting you. I'm not going to worry about you now, but I'm going to say to my mind, I hear you. Well, often I don't worry about that much anyway. I think about things, I plan things, but I don't necessarily worry about them. So meditation for me allows my mind to be heard and nurtured back to a place of peace and calm. That's what meditation means to me. You can meditate in your car whilst driving, at a stoplight. Obviously, don't tune out when you're driving. That's not good. But you can meditate at a stoplight, 3 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. Just have that. You can breathe and exhale and just clear that mind. Meditation doesn't have to look like breathing either. It could just be you thinking, okay, I know I have to do X, but I'm not going to worry about that now, but I've duly noted that I need to do that later on. So meditation is just getting to that peaceful place. When you become a guru, you can be the perfect meditator. But for now, just spend some time tuning in, tapping into your thoughts, what you worry about, so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can start looking at the carousel of thoughts because you're deciding to choose another thought in that moment, and a more peaceful thought. So that's meditation. And this 5 senses exercise, this is the one that really brings you back to the present moment. So this exercise is something that I do use with my clients if they're experiencing any kind of anxiety, is this exercise where you say 5 things. So name 5 things you can see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Because you're concentrating on these things, it really brings you back or into the present moment, so that you just are literally figuring out what's around you rather than worrying about that thing that you didn't do or wanted to do. So this is the 5 senses exercise. So grab a screenshot or look it up. 5 senses exercise, really powerful to take you back into the present moment. Now, for those of you who want to experience inner peace, how do you know when you get there? How will you know if you're not already there? What will you see? What will you hear? What will you feel? So this is another exercise for you to do at home. How will I know I'm feeling inner peace? How will I know I'm experiencing inner peace? Is it that I'm just going to be so relaxed that nothing worries me anymore? That problem that I've got just seems to disappear. I'm not even going to think about it. So how will you know that you're experiencing inner peace? What will you see? What will you hear? What will you feel? So that's the end of my session on the 5 principles of inner peace. So get in touch with me if you are not connected with me. I think I might be connected with, I don't know if more people have joined the call, but I might be connected with many of you already. But connect with me, follow me, whatever, message me, talk to me. I like to hear back from people. I like to hear the difference I make. So I'm going to finish the recording now. And that was just a snapshot of inner peace. Obviously, it's a huge topic, so I welcome your questions.